Ditch the busy badge, the simple shifts that create more space to breathe. Busy is not a badge of honor, it's a warning sign. In this video, I want to walk you through 5 simple shifts that have helped me and my clients create more breathing space in our days without dropping the ball and without losing momentum. So, point 1. Instead of scheduling based on what's available, schedule on when you're at your best. For me, this is an incredibly personal one. So trying to do deep focus work when I'm exhausted leads me to burnout, making mistakes or subpar work. Aligning my work with my energy means I get more done in less time. So for me, I work brilliantly first thing in the morning and I work brilliantly late afternoon and evening. Middle of the afternoon, not so much. The great thing about running my own business is I get to make that choice. If I want to stop between 1 and 3 because my brain is not at its best, then I can do that and I can do the work I want to do elsewhere. I don't have to. It's my choice. That is my freedom and having my own business. For you, the best thing to do is identify your high energy periods. So when are you smashing it out the park? When are you operating in God mode and getting everything done? Watch yourself, kind of observe your behavior for a few weeks and see when those peaks and troughs are. When you work out what those high energy periods are, schedule creative or strategic tasks into that window and then use your low energy windows for admin or for taking a break. This will help your day flow instead of drag along because you're using the energy you have naturally rather than forcing it. For example, I do a lot of my creative writing first thing in the morning because most of my ideas come when I'm in the shower and I'm not doing anything else. So the first thing I do when I get out is write out any ideas that I've had, put down notes, that kind of thing. Afternoons tend to be for admin or, to be completely honest, for napping because my energy levels just don't operate in the middle of the afternoon. So work out what your energy needs and fit things around that. Point 2 is about taking CEO days. Again, something I found incredibly valuable. At the end of the day, you are your most important client. If you are not functioning at top level, then realistically, your business isn't going to function either. You need to block time to work on your business, not just in it. And you need to keep that time sacred. If you're always reacting, you can't grow. CEO days give you that space to plan, to reflect, and then to lead with intention. So pick a day or a half day or a week to step back. For example, I do a CEO retreat in Ibiza once a year and it's 4 days because that's when the flights fall. But there's a day in the middle of it, there's an actual retreat day, and the days either side I use for reflection and planning. The creativity goes through the roof because I'm not doing anything other than kind of reflecting and working on it. I use Fridays as CEO days. Those are my days for creativity. Those are my days for working on my content, recording videos like this. Review your metrics though. Tidy up your project board. Ask what needs to shift, what's working, what's not working. You know, if you're shoehorning in a day a week and actually it's making you more stressed because you've got so much work, that's probably not the best pattern for you. But do find time and do stick to that because it's important that you do. So as I said, my CEO time is non-negotiable. My Fridays do not have meetings in them, and that is important to me. I've learned to do that over 11 years. I'm hoping that if I can suggest it to you now, you can do it a bit quicker and benefit from it more quickly than I was able to benefit from it in my own business. Point 3 is letting go of those non-core tasks. So when we run a business, and especially when we start, we learn to do all of the things. We can invoice, we can admin, we can market, we can sell, we can bookkeep, we can do everything. But just because you can do all of the things doesn't mean you should be doing all of these things. Realistically, every task on your to-do list and every task for your business has an opportunity cost. Time spent doing admin or sending out invoices is time that could have been spent on something more strategic or high earning. The best way to deal with this is to make a list of everything you do in the week. Highlight the things that only you can do at the moment. Everything else is a candidate for outsourcing or scrapping. And actually, everything on the only you can do list potentially is a candidate for outsourcing. You might just need to train someone up to get to that place. For example, I realised how much time I was spending working on graphics, tweaking them and changing them. I don't need to be in Canva 24/7. I have some really great team members who are absolutely brilliant at it. And being able to give them that job freed up hours of fiddly time that I could use for much, much more important things in my business. So hi, I'm Danielle. I help business owners and fractional directors to build businesses that give them the space to live in the way they want to live. I had to learn the hard way. I used to chase every opportunity. I said yes to most things, and I literally wore my busyness like a badge. If I wasn't busy 24/7, I wasn't successful. But I was building something I didn't really enjoy and something I didn't really want to live inside. The real turning point came when I started prioritizing the right kind of growth. Not just more, not chasing money, not chasing 6 figures, 7 figures, or whatever, but chasing better, better for me. And that is my freedom and my choice. So, point 4 is about planning. Most overwhelm isn't from what's happening right now, it's from what you didn't plan for. While systems can absorb disruptions, I don't know, sick kids, tech failures, surprise client demands, you stay in control. But not every system is built to have that level of absorption. So, for example, and this is exactly what I suggest you do, is about building buffer into your schedule. If I have a day with back-to-back meetings, I come out of that day emotionally, mentally, and physically exhausted because I've not had a chance to write up any of the notes I've taken. I've not had a chance to actually digest and think about what we've talked about. Building buffer between meetings allows me that 30 minutes to go and make a cup of tea or go to the toilet, but to also go, okay, oh, I've had an idea off the back of what we talked about, or I must write down that I need to do this, this, and this. That detanking, if you like, that decompression time allows you to offload everything from meeting 1 before you move into meeting 2. So it's really, really important that you kind of build that buffer in to physical meetings, into your day. You know, if you schedule in 10 really important things and you can only get through 7, you're going to feel like a failure. If you schedule 3 or 4 in, you know there's enough time in there for reactive work. You know there's enough time in there for emergencies or something else going wrong, and you're going to feel like you're achieving. And that dopamine hit is what you need to keep going and to bring you that joy in your business. So point 5 is about saying no to the wrong kind of growth. Not all kind of growth is good growth. And again, this is something I've done in my business. I remember at the start of 2024, I had a financial goal. I wanted to reach X amount of income a month. And when the opportunities came to me, I said yes, I said yes, I said yes. What happened was I took on clients that didn't align with my values or my way of working, and the stress that caused as it stretched me thinner and thinner was unbelievable. It pulled me away from the kind of business I wanted to run and put me in a position where I was unhappy every single day. Chasing every shiny thing, every yes, every pound is always going to lead to burnout. Sustainable growth comes from alignment, not from value, not from money, not from more. It comes from knowing that you're doing the right thing and going in the right direction. So it's really, really important that you get clear on what success looks like for you. When you know what success looks like, I know the type of clients I want to work with. I know who those dream clients are. I know the red flags when I have a conversation. I know the type of work I want to say no to. I know the type of work I love saying yes to. And I can tell when I'm excited or passionate about a potential. It's really important that once you're aligned with that, that becomes your boundary, that becomes your driving force, and that becomes what allows you to make decisions, what you say yes to, what you say no to, and how you grow your business. But it does take reflection, and it does take being strong and sticking to that, because I know how easy it is to turn around and say yes to things that don't really align with that because they look shiny or they look exciting or they're offering you £2,000 a month. So it's about being intentional. Remember, you are building your future and your freedom, and be really, really intentional with that. If you want to know how to get even more freedom in your business, if you want to know even more shifts that tie into building that business freedom and building that life you really want, go and watch any of my other videos. I've done a whole series about freedom in business because it's really important to me. It's all about rethinking how you work, but most importantly, why. What is that end point for you? What are you aiming towards? What is your freedom?